Hello all you lovely people, and welcome to another Enhanced Edition, where I'm back with another Mastermind Creations figure. It's only happened a couple of times, but I have done some customizations on a couple of third-party things, and I kind of like how it looks sometimes, so yeah. For those who might remember, I did actually cover this figure that is Mastermind Creations Reformatted Ater Beta previously. You can check that out up there. And this is not that figure. I sold that one, ended up really regretting that, and managed to get another one back. And then once I got it back, I couldn't resist customizing it because now I actually feel a little bit more confident in customization stuff. For those who did see that original video, or for those who may have just come back from checking it out, my chief complaint with the original figure is that I just wasn't a fan of the yellow on it. It was kind of like a mustard yellow, and it just didn't really look right to me. So this time around, what I ended up doing was painting over all of that mustard yellow with gold, because the tone is similar enough that all of the same points still get called out, and they're still separated from the dark blues and grays that are around here. But I like this a lot better than that mustard yellow. It was just not a great color in my mind. I do understand they were trying to get it to be comic accurate. I did actually look up reference photos of Deadlock from IDW, which is what this figure is based on, and it does seem like the color was correct. Granted, I only saw like a couple of panels, but it seemed like that was what the plan was. That being said, I don't think it was a good decision. I feel like if they had taken slight liberties, this would have ended up better, because I really do think that the gold on this looks so much better. It's not perfect. My application could be a little cleaner in places. I did try to go in and clean it up a little bit in a few spots, but it still comes off as looking a little unclean. But then maybe some of that is just me being too picky about myself. I don't know. Regardless, I do very much like how this looks with the gold instead of the yellow. As for the gun, I did not add any detail to the gun. I just painted over the yellow with the gold. There and there, on both sides. That gray was already there. And yeah, so we'll just put that off to the side. The reason I'm going over the accessories in this video is because I did actually change the detail on the accessories a little bit. I also did the swords, which I will untab and pull out here, because these little dots on the hilts were also in that mustard yellow color, so I did those in gold as well, because I wanted to replace that color entirely. So any instance on this figure and accessories where it had that mustard yellow color, I painted over it in gold. Now looking at the vehicle proper, again, I just really like that gold color so much better than the yellow. It just works so much better for me. You'll also notice that I put a Decepticon logo on the hood. As far as I know, this is not accurate to the comics at all, but it was this big blank space on the hood, and I have the outline logos, and I just thought it looked cool, so I applied it. That's pretty much all there is to it. And as I said, you can see all of these gold details. Those are bits that I painted over that were originally that yellow color. As I've said many times already, that just works so much better for me than what this figure originally looked like. So with that out of the way, let's get to robot mode so we can see how this guy fares when he gets bipedal. That was not a great segue, but I'm going to leave it in because why not? And here we have Ater Beta, or Deadlock, in robot mode. Once again, I primarily replaced the yellow with that gold, though there are some added details that I will talk about for the robot mode specifically. And again, I really like how this looks. The yellow just, as I've said many times already, it just wasn't doing it for me. I mean, the figure is great. I love the design of this toy. I love the look of this figure. I think IDW Deadlock's look is fantastic. It's just that yellow. Replacing that with the gold, again, I feel like it still works because it kind of gets the same overall color tone across, but it's a much more appealing to the eye color. For me, anyway. If you like that mustardy yellow better than the gold, that's totally cool. Now, I did add some details for robot mode. As I said, I didn't add anything that you could really see in vehicle mode other than the Decepticon logo, but I did add a couple of things for this. Before I point those out, I do want to show the Decepticon logo. I did actually split down the middle. That was one thing that I did intentionally, so that the sheaths, when they split apart, each have one half of a Decepticon logo on them. So that way it doesn't stick to one side, and then you have like an entire Decepticon logo sticking off or something like that. For anyone curious, applying that was actually really simple. It was just put the decal on in vehicle mode, press down, give it a second to kind of settle, and then I just kind of kept my fingers on either side to make sure that nothing pulled, and then carefully went across the seam with an X-Acto knife a couple of times to cut the decal down the center. Then I split it apart and everything was cool. So that's how I did that. Anyhow, for the robot mode, as I said, I replaced the yellow with gold, which I do think is a vast improvement. Like you can see along the feet here, and what are the backs of the calves and the backs of the heels. I did add these details down here. These bits here, they're not molded exactly. I mean, there are certain elements to this toy that are not exact to the IDW design. It's absolutely close enough, but there are some elements here that are not exact, so I did end up taking some liberties and just like, there should be like gold in this area of the leg, but it doesn't exactly look like this, but I did end up painting those little vents gold to add those details. I also painted in these little dots on the thighs red on both thighs because there's a design element to IDW Deadlock that does have two little spots on the thigh that are red. That's not molded quite right in this toy, so I did take my own liberties there to add the red elements, but I think they work pretty well. And again, replaced the yellow here with gold, replaced the yellow in the torso with gold and in the chest there, and up here as well. I do kind of at some point want to get a Decepticon logo that I can put there, but rather than the silver-backed Decepticon logos that I have, I want to get a translucent one so that just the purple is there, and I just need to get a Reaper label sheet with those decals so I can do it, but I do eventually want to put a Decepticon logo on the chest there. As for the head, I did actually do a little bit more on the head too. I painted, again, the yellow that was already there, I painted over that in gold, but I did a little bit more. This symbol on top of the head, I believe that was originally painted yellow. I painted that in red because that's how it's supposed to look according to the comic. And also, clearly, as you can see, I painted his eyebrows in black because that is a major element to his head design. And I really wanted to have that going because then it really sets this guy apart as Deadlock. It does kind of overshadow the eyes. They're still there, they're still red, they still show up, but like from a distance, it almost looks like the eyebrows are his eyes. It's fine. It's how the character is designed in the comics, so it is what it is. But yeah, that is everything that I did for Mastermind Creations Ater Beta, or Deadlock. This figure is fantastic. It's still one of, I mean, it's hard for me to pick a favorite Mastermind Creations figure, in particular from the Reformatted line, but this is absolutely one of my favorites. As I said, I regretted getting rid of him, but I'm very glad I got him again, and I am so thrilled with the changes here, which again were very simple. It was just going over, for the most part, it was just going over what was already there, just replacing one color with another. It works so much better for me, and I also love that I was able to get the black on the eyebrows to add just a little bit more of a accuracy to it, and also the red on the forehead. I'm not super into accuracy in a general sense, which you all probably remember because I generally talk about that, but in this case at least, I feel like adding some more color elements to make it more accurate helped the figure, because even though I don't care necessarily about accuracy because I have no connection to the IDW comics, really, I've never like read any of them, those added color elements do make the figure look better. Adding a little bit more detail with the red in the thighs and a little bit more detail up in the face there, mixing up the colors a little bit more, takes it that little bit further that I feel like it needed to go, and I'm just so happy with this. Anyway, that is going to do it for my custom paint thing for Ater Beta here. What do you all think of this guy? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you for watching, and please stay fabulous.